Good morning. Though, as you know, I seldom lecture in this course, I find myself compelled by the performance of this particular group to revert back to what we all no doubt feel is a level of communication best reserved for banana slugs and their teachers, namely, the television lecture. My experience has been that today's youth are so addicted to this medium of television that they are incapable of paying attention to a mere human being without some sort of electronic enhancement. Consequently, I have decided with a great deal of reluctance to radically alter my teaching style in an attempt to teach this generation of media-dependent children some of the most basic elements of composition. Please take out your notebooks and prepare to record the salient points of my lecture. Needless to say, you will be held accountable for anything that is said here and all material covered. The topic of my lecture today is the Comma Splice, its origins in modern electronic media. As you may be, but probably are not, aware, your generation of freshman writers has shown the highest measured rate of inharmonic clause convergence since the beginning of psychosentential testing in the late 1960s. This year's class has scored an amazing 3.8 percentile on the MCCP scale. That means, of course, an astounding 3.8 malconjunctive clause patternings per 100 sentences attempted. Such a score indicates one of three things. First, a colossal failure of the educational system. Secondly, an alarming degeneration of the minds of our youth. Or thirdly, the influence of some powerful outside force. The first hypothesis is patently impossible. The caliber of our teaching profession has remained unchanged for the past 50 years. The second hypothesis is always possible, given the younger generation's growing proclivity toward material affluence and mental lethargy. However, as educators, we must postpone this latter conclusion until all other possibilities have been explored. That leaves us with our third hypothesis, the influence of a powerful outside source. To determine the identity of that outside force, we must first examine the phenomena themselves. Malconjunctive clause patternings, comma splices or run-ons in ordinary parlance, may best be characterized as blurs on the landscape of language. It is as though in looking at a Grandma Moses painting, we fail to differentiate the fence from the barn, but rather blur them into a single structure. Looking more deeply into those psychosocial forces which could account for the increasing frequency of this phenomenon, we must immediately point an accusing finger at the most diabolical invention of this century, the television. Unlike the motion picture, which preceded it, television barrages its viewers with a never-ending stream of electrons, thus destroying our abilities to differentiate separate picture frames. With television, life becomes one ongoing blur, one unpunctuated paragraph of misplaced modifiers. In film, each picture is separate and complete. The brain unconsciously acknowledges an end and a beginning to each image. Not so in television. where crazed electrons gallop drunkenly from one frame to another, destroying the mind's faculties of differentiation. It is indeed no wonder that today's students have no concept of a complete sentence, that they constantly indulge themselves with comma splices and run-ons. How would they know how to stop a thought with a period when the only thing close to a period they've ever seen is a commercial? Television creates the illusion of a continuous reality, unpunctuated experience. It leaves no room for logical analysis and judgment. Its effects on the country are obvious. The increase in comma splices and run-ons directly parallels the increase in drug abuse and teen pregnancies. Where there is no grammar, there is no morality. And where there is television, there is neither morality nor grammar. Without proper punctuation, our lives flow in chaotic disarray. Our minds atrophy, and our very souls cry out for periods. Thank you.